Kyle Shanahan. He won 6 games last year on a team that probably could have won 9, maybe 10. Now he's got health and he's got an easier schedule. So, what do you think the expectations should be for Kyle and the Niners this year in terms of wins and how far they go?
Okay. That's a really good question. So let me go slow. 6 wins would be unacceptable, no matter what, no matter injuries, no matter if there's an earthquake. And it would be, to me, grounds for firing. I think this team, given the schedule and given the alleged healthiness of them, and given the money they paid the quarterback, which means how much they believe in him, should be at least a 10-win team.
Yeah.
I think it should be at least a 10-win team. I also think maybe it should be a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not go deep into playoffs, but make the playoffs. And I think if they don't make the playoffs and don't win 10 games, I think the Yorks should really, the three of them should really have a very serious conversation about their head coach. That's what I think, Iggy.
Yeah, if you miss the playoffs 2 years in a row with your starting quarterback healthy on the field, you got to wonder like what changes do you need to make? This
Yeah.
last year, you fired the special teams coach and the defensive coordinator and brought back Robert Saleh. If all of that didn't lead to a playoff berth, then maybe it's bigger than those things. Maybe it's the quarterback, but you just signed him, or it's the head coach who you didn't extend.
Or perhaps the general manager, they might scapegoat him.
Yeah, they could say, look, Kyle really hired John, and it's really Kyle running the show. So maybe if we fire John and hire a new general manager who actually has autonomy and maybe like power over Kyle Shanahan, it'll work. But Kyle never agreed to that kind of a arrangement. I wonder if he would even how that would go. But I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but again, so bottom line, I think they should expect to win at least 10 games. I think they should expect to get into the playoffs one way or another. And if they can't meet those two expectations, I think it's serious. And the York three of them, that triumvirate, need to have a very serious conversation about what changes to make.
Right. So they have 3 games against the Giants, the Browns, and the Bears. I mean, they should be expected to win 2 of those games, right?
Let me ask you this, Iggy. Are all those games on the road?
No. Giants and Browns are on the road. Bears are at home.
Okay. Iggy, they're going to beat the Giants and the Browns.
So they should be expected to win 2 of those games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Bears at home,
We'll
I
see.
think but I think they should win that game.
Sure. But I mean, at least 2 of those games we're expecting them to win. That's 2 wins there. And then they
Yeah.
have 8 games against the AFC South and the NFC South. They should be expected to win like 5 of those games. Those divisions suck.
Yeah.
And then
So
the
that's
remaining 6 games is their division. They were 1-5 in their division. If they can just win 3 games in their division, that's 3 plus 5 plus 2. It's 10.
there's your 10. So they need to at least split in the division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And right, let's just concentrate on the fact, because the division to me is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you perform in your division? Last season, it was abysmal, Iggy. It was abysmal.
They won 1 game in their division. I think they had leads in the fourth quarter of 4 of the games, and they won 1.
Yeah. So I think asking them to go from 1 win to 3 wins is not that hard, not that much, especially since Seattle and Arizona are improving but are not proven.
Correct.
Not proven. And
Darnold and
they
Kyler Murray, those guys may not even be their quarterbacks next year.
right. So I think 3 in the division is not asking a lot. And there's your 10 wins.
Yeah. So if they find a way to win 9 or 8, it's bad. It's really bad. And the Yorks have to figure out why are we falling so short of expectations? It can't be the special teams coach. It can't be Robert Saleh's fault. Like, it's got to be bigger than that. What have we not addressed yet?
Right. I think as team owners, they need to be really, really serious about this if winning matters to them. And I
Oh,
think it does. Iggy, I think it does. And they need to be as serious as the Knicks just were.
yep. Because if Kyle Shanahan is as good as I've heard that he is, he should be able to win 10 games with this team in this schedule. No problem. No problem.
I'm with you 100%. Yes, he should.
Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code COHN, COHN, and download the app now.
So, look, this season is a test of the Niners, but it's a test of Kyle.
No, absolutely.
Now, he wouldn't admit it, and he shouldn't admit it. But you and I, on our little thing here, we can say it. It's a test of Kyle. What do you got? We're asking 10 wins. That gives you 7 losses, right? You have an easier schedule. Let's see you do it. And if not, we got to talk.
Yeah, you can't do what you did last year. You can't say, this happened, that happened, some tragedy, some misfortune. Let's just lose 7 of our last 8 games. That can't freaking happen.
No, can't happen again.
Those
when
are the
you do that,
expectations.
when you
I
do
like
that,
that the stakes are high this year.
Iggy, Kyle should like that the stakes are high. He's a competitor.
Right.
That's what they're in it for.
Yeah.
They're in it to compete. He shouldn't say, oh, God, I have to win 10 games. I don't know if I can do it. No, he should say, 10? I'm going to win 13. That's how he should think. And if he doesn't think that way, I don't like it.
Yeah. Because I feel like 5-6 years ago, he would have risen to the challenge. And we're looking at him, and we've seen that he's aged a lot. And it's like, are you burnt out? Do you still have that gear that you had in 2019? Because in 2019, he'd had back-to-back losing seasons. People were saying like, hey, man, you have a third one. Going to have some uncomfortable conversations. 13-3, no freaking problem. One of the best seasons of his freaking career, of his life. Can he do that again?
Well, he needs to. No, he doesn't need to. According to the Cohns. Now, we're not the Yorks, but according to the Cohns, he doesn't need to do that. He just needs to win 10 games.
I think that, I don't know if the Yorks agree, but he's in year 9. Year 10 is a sacred year for a 49ers head coach. That was Bill Walsh's last year. I don't think Kyle has done enough to get to year 10. He has to earn that year 10. It's going to be him and Bill. And you covered that. Like, Bill was starting to burn out by year 9 and 10. He won a Super Bowl at the end, but like, that was about it. That was the end.
From what, listen, they got rid of Bill after he won the Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, look at that.
Who does that?
Who does that? And I'm not saying they were wrong.
But they won the next year.
That's right. Bill constantly complained to me that he even actually used words like they took away my team. And he did. He felt, although publicly he made a good face of it, he was really angry and crushed. And they did that. I'm not putting them down, by the way. They felt that Bill emotionally was losing it. He was crying. His players didn't know it, but he's a very sensitive guy. And he was emotional. He had times when he wasn't quite there. He was crying about things. He had maybe burnt out is a cliche, but it's a good thing. Well, if you get rid of Bill, he's won 3 Super Bowls and just won a Super Bowl, and this guy has done nothing, nothing to rival that, nothing. And I think everybody can agree with that. You give him a 10th year, a 10th season, I should say. Well, that's very controversial. And that's another thing at a certain point the Yorks may have to think about. Because, Iggy, you bring up a good thing. That's the Bill Walsh year. Mm-hmm. That's the golden year. Does he deserve the golden year? Has he earned the golden year?
And what the DeBartolos did that was so genius to me, they wanted to move on from Bill. They did it after he won a Super Bowl. They were right that it was the right time. Instead of saying, screw you and everything you built, they maintained his entire structure. They promoted George Seifert. They kept Mike Holmgren. It was the same team minus Bill Walsh. And that was smart and it worked. They won the Super Bowl the next year and almost made it back the year after that. So if the Niners were to move on from Kyle, they've already set themselves up to do the same thing. They could promote Robert Saleh. Fans wouldn't be upset with that. Fans love Robert Saleh. And, they could promote Clay Kubiak to offensive. He's already the offensive. They could keep the structure intact and just say, Kyle's burnt out.
Iggy, if they've planned it that way, that Robert could move up, if Kyle doesn't come through, that would be really clever. And I've never really thought of them as that clever, but if this is the chess move they've set up, I love it. I give them all the praise in the world because they should be several moves ahead, Iggy, in a game of chess.
I think they are. I want to give the Yorks credit right now. It seems to me whether they meant to or not, they've put themselves in a position where Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh are essentially auditioning for who's going to be the long-term head coach of this team. It's going to be one of those two guys.
Wow.
Right? Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what they created. Saleh could leave. They could have a great bounce back year. Kyle could get an extension. Saleh could leave and go be a head coach somewhere else. And everyone lives happily ever after. Or they win 7 games this year. The defense is really promising. The offense has injuries and underperforms, doesn't score in the red zone. And the Niners are like, you know what? Tired of this. We're going with Robert Saleh.
Oh, boy. This has turned out to be the most dynamic segment of our show. And it's because of you, Iggy.
Snuck up on us.